So something that I've always tried to stay true to myself on, at least running this tech channel for the last 5 years, is to not review things as soon as they come out. This is the iPhone 11 Pro. I've been using this as my personal device for the last 4 months since it came out. And these are my thoughts. I think one of the main reasons why I and many other people are impressed with Apple at the moment is because they are actually listening to consumers. And there's 2 examples of that. People wanted cheaper devices, so Apple made the iPhone 11, and people wanted a better battery. So here we are with the iPhone 11 Pro. It's actually a little bit thicker than its predecessor because it houses a bigger battery. Now there's rumors speculating around at the moment that in the next iPhone they're going to be totally getting rid of the port, and the battery life in this device is that good I could see them doing it. Now this is the Pro Max, so it has a bigger battery in it. However, I'm finishing every single day with no less than 40% in the tank. Now, why in the world would you want to choose one of these? And I think the main reason 9 times out of 10 is the software that runs on it, in this case iOS. And we'll get more into that a little bit later, but first, this thing in the hand. What does it feel like and what does it look like? Using it in day-to-day life, 9 times out of 10, I've got a case on this bad boy, just because I want to protect it. However, saying that, this thing is built like a rock. For being a full glass device, it's really, really strong. And that simply comes down to its build quality. The thing is just built well. It's built to last, and you can feel that as soon as it's in your hand. Now obviously with the phone being a full glass design, you're probably thinking fingerprint magnet, but you'd be absolutely over the moon to hear that the matte finish on the back of this phone handles fingerprints really well, and I can smudge this thing all I like, and to be perfectly honest with you, you can't really get much better than that. I'm smudging it and it's fine. And then on the contrary to this matte glass finish on the back, you've got lovely shiny edges around the phone, made out of, well, stainless steel. The materials work really well because the matte back isn't reflective whatsoever. However, the stainless steel is the complete polar opposite to that. Any light you throw at it, it's going to reflect. And this can be found around the 3 cameras and around the edge of the phone and on the buttons, which I have to say, 4 months later, the buttons still feel and work like day one. They are very, very nice to press. Not too much force is needed, but they're not easily pressable. As long as the thing is nice to hold and everything is accessible in its place where it needs to be, I can't really see any problem with the design or fault it anywhere to this point. 4 months, it's been great. The only one downside I don't like about the design is the camera bump and the fact that without a case on this thing, it wobbles on a table. I think that is absolutely ridiculous for the price that this thing costs. There's definitely phones out there that have a more pixel-dense screen, or PPI, which stands for pixels per inch. However, Apple don't really need to, at the moment, go much deeper than what they're doing. Instead, they've worked on the color accuracy of this display, and it's absolutely stunning. As well as that, it's got a 2,000,000:1 contrast ratio, which just means that colors pop, and this thing is bright. Apple have worked on their color science with the display, they've worked on the sharpness, and honestly, this is really hard to portray on a YouTube video, but the display is best in its class. I would be so happy to edit even client work on the display of this phone. I mean, heck, I would go as far to say, if this isn't the best, it is one of the best smartphone screens on any smartphone to date. Period. Now, because these devices are expensive, you need to make sure you've got good insurance covering you. And this is where someone like SoSure comes in, who have kindly partnered with us on today's video. SoSure are a little different when it comes to phone insurance because they create what's called the reward pot. And if you connect with a family or friend on SoSure, you'll get £10 added to your pot. And now here's the best part. If you and the people in your pot don't claim, you get up to 80% of your entire policy back. They're also up to 40% cheaper than other providers. Your cover starts immediately and they'll cover phones up to 3 years old. Their price covers everything, including damage, breakdown, theft, and loss. And the best part is that if you do have to make a claim, they'll aim to have your repair or replacement sorted within 24 to 72 hours once approved. They also have the phone selfie system that makes claiming easier without proof of purchase or need of a receipt for the original device. They also have a low excess from just £50. So essentially, what I'm saying is this is a no-brainer. These devices in your pockets are so expensive, so make sure you get yourself some good coverage for your mobile phones, because it's worth it. Once you crack your phone, it's the worst feeling ever. So if you'd like to check out SoSure and have your phone covered properly, use our link in the description and get £10 in your pot to start with. Thanks Social for sponsoring today's video. So when you're sat there watching your favorite YouTube video or Star Wars film on the incredible display that I've just raved about, you need to be able to hear the dialogue and what's going on. And with the stereo imaging on this phone, it's just out of this world. Now, Apple made some really bold claims on stage when they released this phone, saying it has support for Dolby Atmos, yada yada yada. I don't believe that. All I can tell you guys is the speakers sound well driven. They're loud enough, they're clear enough, they're pretty bassy for phone speakers, and I love them. They're great. But it makes sense, right? If you guys know Apple, you'll know that they know how to make a good set of speakers. All of their entire MacBook lineup come with incredible speakers. Go and watch a review of a MacBook, and I guarantee people will say, these speakers rock. Well, they also rock in the Apple iPhone too. Now, this is the part of the video where I want to move on to the cameras, and oh my God, they are so good. Now, Apple definitely aren't the first people to put a full sweep of 3 cameras in a smartphone, but I think what they've done is learn from the best and then made the best. Let me explain. Switching between 3 separate focal lengths on a phone is usually pretty wishy-washy, where Apple, and they mentioned this on stage that they'd taken a lot of time to perfect this, switching between the 3 focal lengths on this phone is like you don't even notice. Now, about 2 months after this phone hit the market, Apple actually released a software update for it which added a feature to the camera called Deep Fusion. Now, Deep Fusion is essentially clever marketing for a sort of HDR tech that when you take a photo, it will actually take multiple photos at different exposures, so low and high, and then merge them all together so that, let's say you've got a subject with the sun behind him, well, the subject will be lit up and so will the sky. So you're left without a black shadow simply standing in the sun. Everything is perfectly exposed, and I have to say, 9.5 times out of 10, it works really well on this device. As long as you've got nice light, everything's gonna be good. The one thing, however, I'm not liking in this suite of cameras is the fact we have no manual control, but I wasn't really expecting them to add this anyway because it's Apple. This essentially means you're stuck with the f-stop, the shutter speed, the ISO, that the camera thinks you want, but there's sometimes, it is very rare, but there's sometimes when Apple just isn't right, and if I could manually override the settings, I could possibly get a better photo. The only other thing that I don't like about this camera system is the ultra-wide sensor when in low light. For some reason, it just seems to crumble. Now, everybody be saying, Alex, the phone has night mode capabilities. No, unfortunately it doesn't on its ultra-wide sensor. They're only on the normal sensor and the telephoto sensor. Very annoying. The same can't be said for the other 2 cameras though. At night with night mode on, the other 2 cameras are absolutely awesome. That awesome in fact that sometimes it won't let me use the flash even when I want to use the flash, because the phone's like, nah, I got this, I don't even need the flash, leave it out, Alex, and it tries to do its night mode, 2-second shutter speed, and to be honest, the photos do look really good. I wish that night mode was in the ultra-wide camera, because then this thing would deserve the Pro for its cameras, but unfortunately, iPhones have always been notoriously good for their video capabilities. On the back cameras, all 3 of them in fact, you've got up to 4K 60 FPS, and on the front camera too. Pretty awesome. Tagging along with this as well, you can leave that gimbal you bought at home because the stabilization on the ultra-wide camera, especially because the field of view is so wide, it is so smooth. Some of our A camera footage, our big Sony cameras in this office with this, and I bet you guys wouldn't even be able to tell us difference. More than happy to say that this iPhone is king of smartphone video. Like I mentioned at the start, I think the battery life on this device is great, and I think the display on this device is great, and I think the cameras and speaker on this device are great. And who uses a camera system, a great display, and great speakers? Well, 9 times out of 10 are creative, and the same thing can be said about the whole of Apple's range of products. Usually the people that buy them, their target demographic, are people who create things. Logic Pro, Final Cut Pro, you guys get the gist. And this is only my take on this, but phones in the 21st century now are revolving around social media, and social media is essentially all about creating things. You guys have seen the stickers everywhere. Don't hate, create. So I do believe that if you are a creative out there that wants in their pocket a device that's powerful, it has great cameras, it has a great display, it has a great set of speakers and a great battery life, I really wouldn't look much further than this. The only problem is though, you've got to pay for it. But I'll leave that up to you to decide. My name's been Alex, this has been TechFlow, this has been my review of the iPhone 11 Pro for the last, 4 months. And yeah, I'm going to continue to use it because I'm a creative and I love it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.